Whoa, this is the Illusion reporting from somewhere on Spaceship Earth. I'm at Richie Jackson's house, dude. I figured it was time to go back to my favorite, most popular interview and check in with Richie and see how it's going, man. How is it going?
It's going good, man. I'm glad to see you're still
alive and kicking. I forgot, we'll take care of the business aspect, you know, your sponsors and all, what you're up to. And all
okay, Death Skateboards, Servant Footwear, and Rockstar Bearings are continuing to help me out.
All right, man. And you have a clothing sponsor too, don't you?
We more or less let that kind of it kind of came and went. It had its time. You know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We were making shirts and I don't know, we sort of just let it peter out. It was a fun thing to do, but...
What was like your own line of clothes?
Yeah, it was just, it's funny. Actually, people really didn't like it. Like a lot of people in skating were really upset because like, here was my whole thing with it. Like, I remember thinking like, oh wow, you know, if you get like a band t-shirt, you know, you get like, it'll just have a picture of fucking Jimi Hendrix on it. And everyone's cool with that. Like we can use that, right? And you know, I was like, okay, we don't do that in skating because we have this kind of weird self-loathing complex where we're like, we put ourselves under a lot of people. You're like, you can't just put your name and face on a shirt. And that's right to some degree. Like I like that skaters are sort of self-deprecating that way and we won't do it. You know?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But then I was like, why the fuck not? Like, let's just do that. Like, let's just throw it out like that. Like, just put a picture of me on a fucking shirt and who cares, you know? And a lot of the criticism was like, yeah, you can do that with a rock star because they're a rock star, not a skateboarder. Like, everybody sort of like wants to sort of keep themselves under a certain threshold. You know what I mean?
And you stopped? That shouldn't that
right, they won. They won. No,
they won? No, come on, wait a minute, dude.
I don't know, maybe I started something. Maybe it will be a future generation of complete kooks and everyone will have their own face on their shirt. Do you have Illusion shirt?
I've tried. I'm a bad self-promoter, but we're
yeah, right.
No, but when it comes to that whole thing, like I've had fits since we did the T-shirts. It was a headache, and now I'm doing the thing where it's coming because I have my own wood shop, right? So we're gonna get some screens made, but it's not gonna be my face. I don't think. No, right. It's gonna be. I had the viewers.
It should be. I'd wear a shirt with your face on.
Well, it was the Boggles thing. Some kids made some stickers and stuff, which was the me and the Boggles and the thing.
Yeah.
No, I don't have a problem with people rolling around with my mug on their shirt.
Exactly.
You know, the Illusion, America's most tripped out sober guy, dude. Something, dude. Yeah. He's permanent bong hits, dude.
Right.
Kind of thing. No, I'm all tongue in cheek with it all. So really, you went with your kind of play on it all, and it got.
Well, no, people bought it, and it was cool. But I don't know, like it's just funny to see, like when you challenge the self-perception of skaters, that's when you're going to run into trouble. And but trouble is good. You know, I take inspiration from everything, including the really mean-spirited things people say. Like that's kind of pure propulsion for me. Like I take as much inspiration from that as I do from nature or anything.
The haters.
Oh, the haters is like, I almost give it more credence because it's, I guess you would say, there's a higher energy.
It takes more effort.
There's something condensed in it. When you get that like raw hatred, you're like, whoa, what am I dealing with here? Like, what is this substance, you know? And I almost pay more attention to that because I find it has more energy hidden within it somewhere. You know what I mean?
It comes like, I put up one of my art videos like 3 weeks ago, right? Like just do my art thing. And the first comment was, your art sucks and nobody's going to buy it. And I got to say, man,
Dynamite, right?
It nuked me for a moment. And then, but the next 10 comments were, I love this and this and that. But that one got in there because it's like, it's weird how negative energy can really propel itself in and wipe out a bunch of positive energy. And I was like, I had to kind of go to battle with it. I had to re-up my energy field to overcome that negative comment and be like, all right, man, it's not about me. You know, one of the 4 agreements, it's not your view of me is none of my business.
Right.
You know, so I had to like go into all my like kind of spiritual practices and education and be like, nah, dude.
But from an artistic standpoint, that comment you received is so necessary for, I guarantee you, every single artist that ever did anything got that comment.
Well, you gotta move past it. Like it's like a thing. Like your first reaction is. My first reaction was just to fold it all up and delete and like. But then like that's what I mean is I had to like overcome it with all the internal workings and not listen to the voice and realize it's my own ego talking to me through the screen telling me I'm not worthy, and because it always wants you on the back burner.
Right.
But I love negative comments. Because it's even I did the Anthony Van Engelen interview the other day, and we're cussing right and left, right? And I tried to keep the cussing out of it. Because a viewer, like 3 years ago, was like, look, man, I love what you do. I'm Mormon. My wife gets super bummed when your thing comes on because of the cussing.
You just said bummed, which is technically a cuss word.
Is it?
Well, it's pertaining to
the bum.
ass.
The bum.
So, yeah,
I think asses are donkeys. So a bum on a donkey is a double ass.
That's a funny one, isn't it? The whole because I worry about that too. Sometimes I'll watch back stuff and I'll be like, "Geez, I really do swear a lot," you know. And it does bum me out on one. Like I look at it two ways. I'm like, yeah, that kind of bums me out. I don't know why. And the other way is, they're just sounds. They really are.
You break up something like weird like that, right? Like just like sound frequencies of the voices, and I trip on maybe those words have a weird sound frequency, and it's beyond the actual.
Definitely.
Right. So it's if you get in. This is like a musician stuff. I'm not a musician, but I was tripping out in Goebbels, or one of the big Germans. They went out of their way to change the tuning of music from 1 hertz to another set of hertz, and all of our musical is tuned to this set of hertz that the Nazis lobbied the world to have done, and all the musicians at the time were like, no, because the hertz that all the instruments were tuned to are like at a natural frequency, but they shifted it like a little bit to be unnatural to jam everybody up, and musicians have to tune their thing to a different set of frequencies to be in this natural thing. Mm-hmm. When you think about like the power of sounds,
right?
Like the beeping on the phone, right?
It just happened then, yeah.
Yeah, right. Like right on cue. What hertz has that weird sound been set to, and like how does?
I think the iPhone message sound is designed to be just annoying enough to make you notice it, but not annoying enough to drive you
slightly
crazy.
Almost pleasant.
Yeah,
you're like
definitely. It's disguised to be that way for sure.
But yeah. So when you get to the whole thing of back to the profanity is negative, a comment where she was like, hey, this is what's going on with me. I dig what you do. This would probably be better. And there were people below who were like, screw that. It's censorship. Don't do that. But I took a step back and was like, he's got a point.
But then what if he comes at you the next day and he says, also, we got to do something about your hair. It's got to be changed. And you're like, yeah, like if you start giving into these
it was more the tone of it, right? Like it wasn't just like, hey, you can't do that. He sent me a whole thing of like, look, man, this is the deal. I'm out here in Utah, and I got a huge Mormon Utah fan base, like
right.
So I had to acknowledge it, and then I was also like, I had a lot of kids. Like kids.
You got to think about that first.
Yeah, and I was like, okay. And basically what he was telling me was like, look, you got a lot of good stuff coming out, but when I hear it, it bumps into my stuff where I can't really tune into what you're saying because I'm caught in the profanity bubble. And then my wife's hassling me, not because she doesn't like what you're saying, but like, dude, if only. And I took it to heart and was like, I get what he's saying. It's just unnecessary noise. Like every now and then, man, it's appropriate.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, for sure, use it when it's appropriate. A lot of skate content. I think my pal Sierra Fellas actually told me about it one time, that it just hit him watching this video how many times everyone was just droning on with the fucking, and he just got to a point where he's like, is this what I do? Like, are these my people? I don't want to talk like that.
I bump into that thing. It was funny. Just the interview the other day was like, you came up in it too, by the way.
What? Which one?
With Anthony Van Engelen.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Well, he was talking about going to yoga and happened to go by some coffee shop and it full of hipsters, and we were talking about the beards and the thing, and he was saying, well, you know, we're skaters and surfers. We have our home, a group of people we like peer group with, and I was like, well, Richie Jackson's got a home of his own because you're a skater and you're your own unique being, right? You know, like the whole thing of like, when you're in your own thing, you belong to like a home of yourself.
Right.
You don't need to belong to a group. Like I don't belong to a group. I'm just my own.
Yeah.
But we were talking about like the how you know like you as a skateboarder, like as skateboarders, we are all skateboarders.
Right.
But it's not. I'm not a one trick pony, and neither are you, man. But you know what I mean?
Right. It is funny that skaters, although belonging to one massive group, are like almost hypersensitive to any kind of difference or what they perceive as a transgression against skateboarding, which could be something as small as like the way your back foot is on a 360 flip. That's like immediate like pack hatred. You know, like that's kind of one of the creepiest things about humanity to me is that like I don't know if it's an evolutionary vestige, something left over where, you know, if somebody was too diseased, we had to, get them out of the tribe or something. But I don't know what it is, but if there's one little, like, foible that's perceived as, okay, that's wrong, you just watch dudes just descend in and just, like, it's really like piranhas skeletonizing somebody. It really is. And for people that are already, like, marginalized in society, for us to, like, be like that is fascinating.
Well, it's the weird thing of, like, when I was young, it wasn't like that, though.
Right.
It's only been due to the like exponential growth of skating that's allowed the weird nitpickiness of it all. Like, I mean, I guess there was the weird thing with the freestyle thing back when I was young, like those guys over there, Rodney Mullen and those guys. But it took over skating ultimately in the end. Mm. But it's weird when you say that because I see it out there, when I look at other people like skating videos, I see people going crazy about stuff. I'm like, really?
Well, it might just have to do with the hypersensitivity that's necessary for progression to happen as well.
Sure.
The analysis. If we're all just like, everything's great, then skating would go nowhere.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it goes back to the negative comment thing, right?
Yeah.
But what I find is it's the tone in which it's put in. Like the guy who said the thing about the art, he was definitely trying to like bum my eye out. But the guy who was telling me about the profanity was trying to accentuate my reality.
True.
So when like there's that weird pack mentality, it's like at a certain point, it's like, are you guys just picking on him because you don't like him? And if you don't like him, why are you here anyhow?
To deliver some high energy.
We're just coming into hate. Yeah, we're attack dogs.
What did you say? It was to accentuate your reality?
Yeah.
The comment that says straight up, you're a shit artist and you'll never sell anything. I don't think of anything. It's disguised. It's disguised reality accentuation.
Yes.
Because you can take that and you can, what's the word? Like digest it and almost kind of break it down into more valuable pieces.
Well, you can't be afraid of but you can't be afraid of yourself, right?
Right.
Like that's the thing is like when that moment hits, like you got to go through the whole process and realize who you are.
Yeah.
Because I'll do the thing like, man, I know where my limits and things and what I'm really am. Like I'm not some dude who went to school or this. I just kind of broke free of since I last saw you.
Yeah.
I think when we did the last interview, we were kind of talking about, but my thing's sort of taken off in its own weird world of the like ability to sell art and
sick.
I keep it super like cost effective, but like, dude, I've sold a lot of it, man.
Congratulations.
Because there's all sorts of dudes like who don't sell art who are like artists, and that like it's like just luck of the draw that I have a group of people interested in what I'm doing.
That's awesome.
But I'll look at like a juxtaposed magazine, right? And like it's one of those things like I go in and I know there's a part of me that it will get crushed. Be like, dude, you are kindergarten compared to some of these dudes.
That's the best thing that can happen to you, man.
Because I got to be stripped naked again and climb back up on the horse, right?
I had it happen to me. That exact same thing you're talking about. I was kicking it with this guy who, unbeknownst to me, was I just sat down next to him because he had a really long, like, wizard ponytail and looked like a cool guy. And unbeknownst to me, it was Rick Baker, the guy that did everything. Like, he did the makeup for Michael Jackson in Thriller. He made all these famous movie aliens. You know, he's like the guy for that. And I had some paintings that I'd done, and he was like, "Oh, you paint?" Like, "Yeah, let me see." And I showed him. He's like, "Yeah, that's pretty good stuff." He's like, "Allow me to show you mine." And he just pulled it straight up, you know, shamelessly, which I admired too. He wasn't like, "Oh, I better not," you know. He's like, "No, I'll show you." And he pulled out the stuff, and of course, it's just like you said, so good that it was just knocked me right down. I'm like, I'm a kindergartner. I can't do anything. And it was a glorious thing, like, to know that that's possible. How far can you push the ability and complexity? You know, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's truly a great thing to be around. You know, I was fortunate to sit down next to him and have him show me that and crush my own perception of my ability.
Crush the ego, right?
Great thing.
No, it's a wild thing, these experiences. Because for a moment, like, I bought into it and got all the paints and the stuff and tried to, like, actually, and I was like, what am I doing? Because someone was like, "Oh man, you know, man," and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll give it a try." And then I got it, and I was like, "Nah, I don't have the tactile skills to use a paintbrush. It's not my thing." Somehow I found my cardboard and Sharpie pens and my circle maker and stuff and my straight edge. Do I need to venture into a whole new? Yeah, give it a try. It's there, but I spent more time being frustrated trying to master a device where I'm like, how much of my creative output am I losing by just being frustrated?
Right. Yes. You pretty much just described my approach to skateboarding to a T.
Really?
That is exactly what I do. I know what I'm working with. I know what I've got. I could go and ruin my life trying something that I know I will never attain, or attain with such a level of difficulty that I've lost 15 years of my life and forgot to do the stuff I wanted to do.
Yeah, right.
I do the same thing. I think probably all artists do, you know?
It's a trippy thing. I mean, even with the YouTube thing, like, it kind of waned. Like, I moved up into the mountains, I don't have a Wi-Fi signal, and like, so I wasn't doing my thing, and I'm like 3 weeks ago, I had a spiritual change, if you will, about life and the whole thing. And I called this guy and I was like, "All right, man, I want an interview." Like, he needed some help. He talked to me. It was like, "I need help with my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get going." And I was like, "All right, I'll just interview you and we'll see what happens." And but it was this weird thing where, like, he's just some dude, a friend of mine. But we were talking about the YouTube thing, and I was doing the thing, and I realized I hadn't actually done this format for like a year plus. And I was like, "Yeah, I like the whole thing." Like, ultimately, would love to do a podcast, but I don't have the technology or the place. But this is my podcast.
Right.
This is my podcast, people, just in case you were wondering. Because everyone's like, "You should get a podcast." This is it.
This is the internet. We're here.
Yeah, we're
all here.
We're doing it. So I'm talking to him, and I realized it was like getting warmed up again. Like, I kind of had to re-find it. And I was like, "Oh," and then I just got on the phone and was like, I called my buddy who's just got diagnosed with cancer, again, most positive kid you ever met, man, and was like, "Let me in and help you out with your thing to raise awareness for your so you can get your health care."
Mm-hmm.
And he, like, did it in my car, and I interviewed him, and it was like I was sitting there watching my own reality change through this kid, like, whoa, data, man. And so I got on the phone with you. I was like, "I gotta go check out Richie, man. It's time to get back in the swing of this whole thing,
right? Whatever it is." The cycle has come back around for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, so, like, there was a moment where, like, yeah, I wanted to go do something else, but the thing of, like, why spend a bunch of time spinning my wheels when, like, I got my own little kit going on here. Like,
right. But also you've carved out something unique to yourself. That's the whole thing.
Exactly.
That's what happens. Like the way you just throw it down, you're like, no, I don't edit. I don't do this. Like, well, that's you. That's your artistic flair to the whole thing. Is that's how you do it.
Well, now it was funny. It's the thing of like letting it all go. Like with the art, right? Like someone was asking about, like, so I got a stepdaughter now since I last saw you. I got a stepdaughter, my girlfriend, and we're having a baby, right? So the stepdaughter, she just turned 10, right? And she'll see me doing my art thing, and she'll like, oh, I like that one. Can we put it on the wall? And I'm like, nah. And it goes in the bag under the couch. Like the minute it's finished, it's in the bag under the couch. And she's like, but, and I go, hey, you gotta understand, for me, it's this weird, it's the action. It's not for me to look at. It's not even mine. Like, it's just file it away.
I heard that's what Syd Barrett did, something similar. Post Pink Floyd, like when he was just gone, he would paint and burn them when he was done. Like, it was purely just the process. He would do the painting and then just torch it and repeat. And he kind of did that for the rest of his life. Like,
that's a bold move, man.
Yeah.
Because like
that's Syd Barrett shit.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? To destroy the ego right then and there.
Right.
No attachment. Like, okay, no validation, no critique, just my moment in time. There it is. It's gone.
Amazing.
That's radical. Because I think when I get into my weird, I'll get into, not so much anymore since my life's changed, but I used to get into weird moments where I would be like, I'm going to take all this stuff down to the fire pit down the beach and just light on.
Absolutely.
And I would listen to the battle then it would spark off the battle in my head. Like, you can't do that, bro. Like, whoa. And then that would get me even more like, wow, maybe I should just burn this all down.
That's brilliant. I'll definitely get bummed out by possessions. Like, have you ever like had to carry a water bottle with you?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I need this with me, but God, I just don't want it on me. Like, I wish I could just throw this away, but I need to drink it. And like, you want to let go of it, but you can't. You know?
It's the iPhone for me, man.
Right.
I've been like struggling. I've been like debating going back to the flip phone and the whole weird thing. So I almost met a weird compromise. Like, we moved up to the mountains. Like, we don't get any Wi-Fi, and we were gonna have it installed. And I was like, let's not do it.
Yeah, are you not doing it? Wow.
No, man. Like, it's weird. It's changed my whole. I read way more. The cloud stopped trying to kill me, and all that kind of weird. You know, because I get off YouTube out and we're watching all sorts of stuff about this and that, and I had this thing where I realized that the clouds were trying to kill me, and I go, that's a gnarly reality to live in, where the clouds are trying to kill you, man. I talk about it a lot. The clouds are out to get me. Whether they are or not, we won't get into that. I think they are personally, but I was like, I have to like ebb this addiction to the drama of information.
Well, clouds are a vapor. A vapor can kill a man.
For sure. Well, the stuff they add to the clouds, and the
chemtrails?
chemtrails and all the, yeah.
I forgot, I read some old quote, and it was something like, man is so easy to kill, it takes but a vapor to kill him.
It's true, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little gas, dude,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I didn't going about the gas, dude. No, that was the weird thing, was like turning all that stuff off. I just found, like, it all came a lot with the 9-year-old, right? Like, having to like interact with her, because I have no TVs, none of that stuff. Like, kid time, like, when you're a 9-year-old, we got to educate you, dude. Like, we got to lead by example.
I accepted that the iPhone is completely integrated beyond all reversal at this point.
There's no reversing it.
No,
it's in.
It's only going to grow bigger, become implanted.
Dude, I literally, I used to be the map guy, all the maps. I let iPhone guide me to your door.
Of course, everybody does. It's a much.
But like, I'm not in my comfort zone out here in the valley, right? I realized getting off the 101 that I wanted to stop and look at it. And just look at it for a moment, just to get my bearings with where I was kind of going. And I was like, nah, man, we're gonna let it guide you off the cliff, maybe. and I would like pull right up to your house, but it was that weird thing where it was like, I'm really doing this. I really do this now. It goes against who I am, because I'm into cartography, man.
Right. But at the same time, I remember a lot of times just being completely lost and not knowing where the hell we were going, and it sucked. And like, it's great to get lost sometimes, yeah, but other times it was like, man, this is terrible. Like we were trying to go to, I think Santa Cruz one time, we just missed it and just went all the way to San Francisco and had to turn back, you know? Like that's not going to happen anymore.
It's true. It is true, unless the satellite goes down.
Right. Oh, it'll happen. Everyone will be lost again eventually, but for now, we're getting around.
I know. For now, it's because it's such a weird. Isn't it a weird world? Like how much it shifted in that. Like when we did, the iPhone is new since the last interview we did. Mm-hmm. I was doing it with the handheld camera.
I remember, which is now considered an antique.
Yeah, like that's what 2.5 years ago.
Dude, YouTube is changing. Like. You're on Instagram, right?
Oh, yeah.
See, I wonder about this. Like, I mean, obviously the pendulum swings back always, but there's almost like a contraction of the attention span into the, the standard now is the 15-second Insta clip. So YouTube is almost kind of waning in popularity because it's hard to get somebody to watch a thing like this, Like, it's a pretty ballsy move on our part to actually put out this rather than video engineered down to 15 seconds of pure addicting entertainment, But, I mean, it always is going to come back the other way. It's up to us where we want to take it. We're saying we're doing an hour-long interview, we're doing it now. But I think it's funny that YouTube was the sort of central point of all kind of like online media, and it really has changed. Like Insta and Facebook. And
Snapchat and all those.
Yeah. But Insta and Facebook are one company, apparently. If you try to post a YouTube link on Facebook, this happens a lot with mine, they will bury it. I think I posted a direct YouTube link that got 5 likes, which is down from the usual, hundreds of likes. And it's because YouTube isn't part of Insta and Facebook, and they are trying to, they'll bury it. They won't give it the same...
what's so weird is like talk about getting like marginalizing itself. Like Facebook has gone. I don't even pay attention to it anymore. Literally, I only have it to upload stuff to. I don't look.
But you upload your videos to Facebook
just because it's the buttons on there.
Yeah,
but
I have to.
But for all intents and purposes, in my life, Facebook could not exist, and I wouldn't know it. Like it's not what it was a couple years ago where I was like, it was sort of an interactive thing and gleaning information and like aware. It got invaded by the ads and the causes.
Right.
It's just dude, when I stopped screwing with Facebook was the dogs. Every day there would be the tortured dogs starving to death in some cage, and it would be like the dogs, and I would be like, dude, I'm hip to the dogs, but I can't look at another tortured dog, dude. And that was like my big, because I don't, as an aware dude, you don't need to show me a starving African child, man. I'm hip to it. As an aware dude, I don't need to see the thing. Like I've done my time on the front lines of the environmental life issue. Like I went out and did my bit for it. Now I've reeled it all back into where you don't need to push it on me, man. And the fact that it's coming at me, I'm censoring it. I don't need it. You want to show me some cool stuff? Like was enough cool stuff where I kind of battled it, and then it just overwhelmed me with the dogs, and I was like, dude, enough with the dogs. It was this one picture of this dog kept coming up, and it was so disturbing.
Was it the shark bait one?
I don't know what it was. It was just some mangy dog they found in some basement that had been, neglected, and the leash was melted into it, and I
see those every day too. I guess I never fought it. I've accepted it as what I'm gonna see on the internet.
Yeah, I'm real sensitive to there is still some stupid, weird thing that I see it right now. They had this picture of this piece of beef, and it had a tumor in it. It was all spilling out, and it was an to get you to not eat meat. And it was so thing that I would scroll and I would see it, and I would just have this I don't want that image. It's seared into me on my thing, but I don't need Facebook became a way for people to insert disturbing images on me. And you know what, man? I didn't really dig the Dead Kennedys album cover that much because I didn't like the Twisted Babies, man. You know, I'm not into it. I don't go to horror films. Yeah, I'm freaked out by that stuff. You don't care.
Well, I actually kind of like. I appreciate sites like LiveLeak that used to be Ogrish.
Yeah.
But my whole perspective on it is this: like, I grew up. I was born in 1985, so growing up, I kind of felt like I was living in a cartoon reality a lot of the time. Like, I had a hard time believing, like, if I really like chopped off my hand, like, would it happen? You know what I mean? I was seeing so much Simpsons. It's like everything on television, like nobody really died or got hurt.
Okay.
You know? So I was like, fuck, man. And then like certain things happen in life. I was like, whoa, so you can die. Like, this is real, you know? I almost felt that censorship did create a compromised reality around me. And seeing sites like Ogrish, where you see it just fucking raw.
What's it called?
It used to be called Ogrish, now it's LiveLeak. Like, you just see fucking raw brutality and just the shittiest stuff that humans are capable of in real time. And I would see that, and it helped me understand the world far better.
Well, I mean, I'm not one of those. I'll go and look. Like that, the Syrian jet fighter pilot who was put in the cage and lit on fire. Like, I went and watched it.
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I was like, dude, that is radical, man.
It was fucked because, like, I knew that we were going to get higher resolution cameras in the future. Like, that much I knew. What I didn't know that I'd be watching a man burn to death in high definition.
That's what I mean. But what I guess my thing is, I don't mind having the option to choose. Like, look, dude, here's the link to the thing, because I was scrolling through Facebook, of course, randomly one day.
In fact, they got us, so we just gave it more play just then. We probably shouldn't even speak on it.
Well, I know.
People are going to check it out now. More people are going to watch it now that we just said.
I don't have a problem with that. Is there's a certain, like, the things are gnarly out there going on the other side, just outside, probably down the street, dude. But I just don't want the hardcore image in my. That's more what I mean. I'm not into censor. I'll go look. I just want to have the split second to choose.
Right.
I don't like it when it comes at me and I'm not ready for it. Like, I'm having a good day, minding my own business, man. I don't need to see some disturbing image unless I choose to take that journey for a moment.
Fair enough.
That was where it turned off for me, was the scroll. I didn't have any way to control the stuff people were posting up in my face with images where I'd be like.
So how's things been going with the extraterrestrials? Where are you at with them?
The aliens, man. I don't know, man. I keep coming back to where them.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, you know, like it's so as the walls dissolve, man. You know, like it's hard for me really to wrap my head around the fact that it's that divided.
Have you read about the Drake equation and the Fermi paradox and all that stuff? I'm sure you have. It's like, you know, dealing with why is nobody here? Why can't we find extraterrestrials? Why don't they exist? The really interesting thing is when you get to the explanations that have been proposed as to like why we can't see anything. It ranges from like, okay, they have such sophisticated cloaking devices that they can cloak their whole solar system. So they're going about their business. They know it's not worth making contact with other civilizations, so they've just put up a giant blanket. And they're like, just leave us alone. Let us do our thing. And within that, they could also have, like, look where we're going with creating entertainment and virtual reality. Mm-hmm. The other possibility is that their video games are so awesome, they don't have any interest in the outside cosmos. Like, they're just into what they've created on the planet in a virtual world, a virtual universe. And then other ones, it just goes on and on of like, okay, what could be going on here? Why aren't they interested?
Well, on that level, I think, like, I fully believe that there's life beyond the boundaries of this experience out there, whatever that means. So I guess where I go is I'm so not I'm rolling it all back to like, I'm not even convinced that you're real.
Right.
Like,
I'm not convinced any of this is real.
Yeah. I'm going back to your thing about the video game and the whole thing. It's like, I go, okay, so the extraterrestrial life is an idea. It's right here in my head. It's the thing I always used to talk about. Why would some far out cosmic adventurer drive a VW bus across space unless he's a space hippie? And I kind of get that too. I wrote a novel, right? Because I had a whole theory going on about that the skate parks were actually landing pads for UFOs to fit into.
I was thinking about that the other day, and I got back to the 1,000 monkeys at 1,000 typewriters writing for Infinity War.
Yeah, the infinite
right.
monkey
So
cage thing.
If we're truly dealing with an infinite universe, then it's almost your idea actually has some credence to it. That out there probably is a spacecraft that fits exactly into a particular skate park on Earth.
Yeah.
If we're talking about infinity, that's not a crazy idea.
Yeah.
That those shapes do fit. Which is mind-boggling to think about.
No, like when you get into the infinite possibilities of it all, like it almost, I could see how it can cause your brain to seize up, dude.
Yeah.
But it's when you really explore it, I think that the extraterrestrial avenue is almost a decoy. From like they're trying to get you into the form issue. Like it's a form, it's a form. Like the aliens that are form.
Right.
And I go, what if they're not a form? What if they're an idea? What if they're the mind virus? What if they're the ego?
Right.
I was listening to Michael Tessarian talk about that the ego was basically a safeguard that was created after the cataclysm. They claimed there was some cataclysm on Earth, 15,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, that civilization stopped due to some meteorite or space war or something. And we're the offsprings of the survivor. And the ego, the self-talking mind, was a creative necessity of the human thing to experience, to get past the trauma of being on a planet that could be decimated in a heartbeat.
I think it's to get past the trauma of not having any food. The ego is the purpose of a human being is to eat and reproduce. Anything we do outside of that is just the shit that we make up. It's just a bonus. The ego says, I want food and I'm going to get it, and I'll step over anyone else to make sure I'm fed. That's what the ego is at the crux of it. All animals have egos. Any sort of nutrition-seeking being probably has an ego where it's like, I have no problem destroying you if it means I'll get to survive, which is what it is. So we're dealing with this leftover of this ancient vestige that's very shitty, coming to terms with it in a technological society. This is why it's so traumatic for us to have this ego, selflessness. We're struggling with it because it's a traumatic time for us to be making sense of it. We don't need it anymore.
As the computers are ramping up, it's interesting that these we're shedding, but we're adding, and
so that's difficult.
What if the aliens are technology?
Right.
Like the virtual, the concept of binary. What if they're ones and zeros?
Yeah.
What if they're not?
They probably are. They're bringing themselves into existence. It's like how Devo said, God made man, but he used a monkey to do it.
Yeah. See, no, that's where it's, as my trip on what's going on around me expands, like those old ideas, because I noticed there's been an uptick of WikiLeaks even came out the other, Assange came out and was like, I have the proof of the files that there's extraterrestrial life, and I was like,
No, you got to watch it on the Facebook feed, man, because there's certain sites that are almost 100% clickbait. The Anti-Media, Collective Consciousness, all of these sites are basically a diluted onion, where it's just basically a satire article, a fabricated article.
Sure.
And they use it because, oh my God, it's so outrageous. Assange confirmed the existence of extraterrestrials, so people will click it and read some bullshit and share it as if it's legit.
Well, no, but that's what I meant is
that
all I
never
saw
happened.
was all I saw was the click, whether it didn't.
Right.
I've already got the thing that if it's coming through the cyber you got to throw a giant filter on it.
Right.
Regardless. I meant more that like that was the nonsense coming through the filter that caught the corner of my eye where I was like, oh, it's now it's gotten that ridiculous.
Oh, okay.
It's Assange, WikiLeaks, the aliens. I go, okay, if he is, it's nonsensical, and if he isn't, it's nonsensical. It's all just.
Well,
It's
the reason
diluting
it's dangerous is because, yeah, it's like it's going to dilute the great work that Assange actually has done, and Edward Snowden, you know?
Yeah.
They're truly doing a great service, and for somebody to put words in their mouth, like, fucks with their whole message.
Well, I mean, that's interesting we even get there. It's like, what is your take on that the information gathering paradigm we all live in now? Like, is it something you think about, or are you worried about? Like, what's your take on it? Like, where are you feeling it?
Probably like everybody else, man. Not that psyched, but part of an, it's a necessary hurdle in evolution, you know?
Not that psyched.
Not that psyched, man. Because the argument used to get there that it's going to stop terrorism and whatnot, it hasn't.
There are no terrorists.
Like, yeah, you're there.
Well, we know, but that's the hip thing that people are afraid of is okay, on Sunday, right? I was driving down the PCH to go to my house. I came up like 2 cars later around the corner. There had just been a head-on collision, dude, right? And earlier that day, there had been some motorcycle that cartwheeled down the highway, right? Statistically, the odds of you dying in a traffic wreck are below terrorism, out of the water, unless you're sitting in Syria, of course.
You're 8 more times likely to be killed by a cop than a terrorist.
Yeah. The stats prove that that our culture has jumped on this fear wagon.
Of course.
That a guy like me is like, I can roll.
But you probably remember when it was the Russians that were supposed to be the big boogeyman.
Dude, I grew up in a mutually assured destructive world,
right?
Man.
So it just they always move it around.
But when you get past the fear, right, like this, back to them collecting all the info, it's I got nothing to be afraid of, and the whole like you shouldn't worry. And I'm
but that's the thing. It's not about safety. It's about privacy. Privacy is a thing.
I don't want anyone up in my shit. Man.
Of course not. Well, you have a right to privacy.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
Or do we? Or is the way the technology going that it's so all-encompassing is like I've read something.
Well, then you're going to come into censorship. If everything is going to be seen, then everything should be allowed to be seen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the naked human form can no longer be illegal in a future like that. They can look at anything they want as long as it's also permissible to walk down the street naked. That's a fair trade. I would take that. But if we're still going to have restrictions on what can be seen while everything's still being...
Well, I think that's the unfair thing with the whole double-edged... it's like, what was it? Hillary Clinton with like her private email accounts that no one can see regarding Benghazi and all that stuff. It's like, hey, wait a minute. You guys are snooping in all our stuff.
Yeah.
What do you got... what's good enough for them is good, all for one type of thing.
Of course. Well, yeah.
I don't want people up in my junk, but if you guys are going to do it, then you open up your cupboard too, man.
Of course. Well, this is
I really want to see what's in your cupboard, by the way.
That's why so many politicians support the NSA and what they're doing, because the NSA knows what they're doing.
True. Because they've already done their dirty deeds and they know it. They're blackmailing them all. Yeah. I mean, we live in a society of blackmail. That's the fascinating thing about it. Like, I've been looking at it like a lot lately. Like, how people are able to just manipulate the system because they're holding one over on. Again, it's like having this young child that I'm raising and talking about integrity.
Did you read the letter to Martin Luther King where they're trying to blackmail him?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I know.
Look at that right there. How's that FBI strong arm coming in there?
But it's all over the place.
And it's all bullshit too. It was all shit that he overcame too.
He didn't care.
Yeah.
He took a bullet.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
He didn't give a fuck. You should oh man, if anyone hasn't read that letter, read
the letter. It was the feds, man. But that's
feds to MLK.
But the weird thing is, like, you look at like who's. That was the thing. Is like who's believing this? The government, the system, whatever you want to call them. has our best interest in it, and we should go along with anything they say.
That was a very 1950s idea that doesn't exist anymore, other than in small pockets.
Yeah, like, look, the thing that, like, the minute anything's coming out of the White House, I'm like, do the opposite. Whatever these guys, whatever they're proposing, probably should do the opposite. They want to do that, I don't want to. And it's become, I think you have a big section of the population that's the same way of like, they say, I don't. No.
I use my skateboard to escape from political realities.
Yes, that's why the skating world's different, I think.
Right,
man.
And we shouldn't act political the way that we do.
But that's,
I mean, within skating.
But there's a weird thing. Is like when I was living in Portland, like I used to think that until skateboarding became a crime, and I was like, well, how did no skateboarding laws get passed? They've declared us a group of people, a subsect of the society. Skateboarders are officially viewed by the government in Sacramento. We're in California, and Sacramento is fully aware of us, the skateboarders, and they make laws regarding us. So whether we want to be politically involved or not, decisions are being made where you can and cannot. In Malibu, they passed a law that says it's illegal to skate down hills. Mm-hmm. In downtown Los Angeles, it's against the law to go over 5 miles an hour down a hill. Are we free of politics?
I wasn't.
No, but you know
what I was trying to get at was that this subsect of people behaves very much like a miniature society with politicians and cops and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying when you get the style police and you get the trick police, it's like we've become everything we ever hated.
Well, then you become your parents, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I meant by that. And you're totally right. Like, skateboarders do need political representation in the real world. For sure.
But yeah, I know what you mean about that. Like within skating, there is this weird. It's trippy to like see it developing, like or have been here now. It's like there is this
militaristic mindset. You know, that's what I'm getting at. There's a militaristic mindset within skateboarding.
Oh yeah,
you know,
that's bizarre if you really think about it. Like, yeah, if you don't fly a certain way, dude, you're not. Right, you're not in the thing.
But I also see it as like, you know, props to the dudes that do it. You know, my war just isn't as intense as some of the wars these dudes are fighting. I see it. I see the way like the big handrail guys interact with each other. Like, it's a war. It's a battle.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about like guys that go out and grind 20-stair handrails. Like, you have to have a legitimate warrior mindset. You know, but with it comes like almost a pseudo-military vibe, which is maybe why I don't do it, because, you know, there's like, they have to love suffering to a degree, you know? I love it to whatever minute degree I experience it, but these guys like genuine fucking like battlefield suffering mentalities.
Well, that too, and they roll with the battalion.
Yeah, they do.
You're not going up and doing that stuff on a big rail like that without your camera crew and your posse and the thing. And there's, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I just don't know. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong. Is I don't know if there's dudes that are going off by themselves. I'm gonna go roll down to the 20-stair handrail and just, you know, because it's Sunday and it's 7 o'clock and it's a little slow. Like
the battalion.
Yeah, you got to bring and it's military precision.
Right.
And there's equipment that goes with it that all has to be checked and operated. It's like big wave surfing's become. Like there's it's not just a surfboard and a dude in the ocean. It's jet skis and dudes with certified training and walkie-talkies and life vests and suits and boats and this and that. So far removed from like a guy.
This is why, like, when I don't participate in that, I feel like a conscientious objector. I've been sent to skate jail, you know, away from these dudes.
No, it's so far out.
I put myself in skate jail because I wouldn't go with it, you know?
Yeah, I get it, man. Like the hippie in you, right?
Pretty much.
It is that crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Like there's I mean,
if you're not willing to fight, fuck off, you know? I'll fight my own battle, but it's not the same one.
It's a different battle. Well, yeah, that's the weird. There is that finesse thing that you're doing that's like a whole different.
Well, like I said, working with what I got, you know, I that's what I get a kick out of, is refining something to where it looks like it has finesse. You know, I'll work on something until I have it just right. Like the painting that you just gave me, I love the precision in it. I can see that you want everything to be exactly where it's supposed to be. That's the kick I get out of skating, is thinking of something, you know, visualizing it, bringing it into reality exactly the way I want, like having it perfect. You know?
Yeah, well, no, that I like when I watch your thing, like that. Yeah, that's what I marvel at. It is the perfection of it. The thing I still constantly blow away is the two-wheel carve.
Thanks, man.
I can't even, like, that is some like physics going on right there, because I can't.
I'm thinking it should be called a side ride, that one.
Side ride?
I thought about names for ages, but I'm settling on side ride.
Side ride.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, but it's one of those things, it's so subtle until you actually like really think about it, and you're like, dude, that is like science going in. There's some artistry, brush strokes going on the canvas of skateboarding with that move alone.
Well, it kind of just puts you in a position where it's like, it just looks cool that you're like this and you're curving, you know. I don't know. I do some tricks that I think are a good idea, and I'll see like where they end up putting my body, rather than like me putting my body in this position to start with. Like the trick idea will sort of decide where I'm going to stand and what's going to happen. And you'll watch it back and be like, oh yeah, not really so graceful there. That one's not so good. But others, you hit pay dirt where you're like, oh, my body is like naturally works in the position that I've put it in. You know?
Well, I think that's one of the things with your style, is your body is part of the whole package. I think that there's a headless component to skating.
Yes.
That, like for me, like when that's where I have a lot of trouble, like watching a lot of skating stuff, is it's sort of this non-entity on like doing this stuff. Like there's there's a pageantry going on with the Richie Jackson move, like some flowingness and some colors and some style, and like, well, that's a radical outfit. Like there's a whole like.
It's a well-packaged illusion.
Yes, where you'll see some kid and just like, and yeah, okay, that was gnarly. I got you.
Well, I've seen
at least Matt Schlager, I got his name right, puts the headband on.
Right. Oh man, like some dudes know how to manufacture their gimmicks so fucking flawlessly, and it's never a bad thing, dude. Like it makes it. I don't know what it does, but I like dudes that do it. You know, guys that are sans gimmick. I kind of just, they don't hold my interest, man. I don't know what it is.
You gotta have a little bit of gimmick, dude.
Right.
It's all
gimmick. I love it.
It's all about having a little bit of gimmick, man. You got to play to the audience.
Yeah.
I think that's where, I mean, as a guy, as a giant lover of the whole skateboarding thing, there's a certain thing that gets missed where I'm like, dude, you guys like, yeah, it's the skating, but you could bring some more to the table.
Make it fun.
Let me know who you are, man.
Yeah.
Bring a little of you to the screen. Like, I got it, your trick was right. Like that. There was that thing they were doing, like, how do they get there? Bits. I think Thrasher, I forget what I saw. How do they get there? Like, how did they, it was in Thrasher, there would be a picture of the guy doing some gnarly trick, and it'd be, how did he get there? And he would talk about, fuck, man, I showed up, it was raining, I came back, and then I slammed, I broke myself up, I had to come back 2 weeks later, and I did this, and I finally got it. You know, but I had to, like, you know, look at it, like, boy, I miss a puppy on the way. Like, there's a whole, I'm into, like, almost like before and after the trick too, like what?
That's why those B-sides videos are so popular. That everybody puts out, where there's, because we have such a established format of, you got to have your song, you got to have it edited to the beat and all this stuff, and people have been watching that for so long that when you put out something that's just the raw footage showing what happened before and after, it's far more relatable, and often it'll get more views than your actual video part, which is really funny.
Well,
I might put one out, actually.
You should, because well, no, but it's that weird thing of like, people know skating's like, if you skate, it's this love of pain pursuit. Nothing's coming. Even I'm pretty casual. I'm still going down on a regular, like it's just part of the game, right? So, but there's this polished package that gets presented when it's like, I know. Maybe Nigel doesn't. They showed that one where Nigel jumps on the rail and he goes straight to impact, and you're like, oh, that's hurt. Gets back up, he does it. You're like, okay, dude, that's radical. That's why that trick's so radical. It's radical on its own, but now that I've seen that dude just fully kissed the concrete, extra radical. Sure. And I'm into all that. I love seeing the bruises of skating. Like, yeah. And people want, like, I think that with all the social media, that's where it's almost goes. It's like, well, how'd you get here, man?
Right.
How did you get here?
Yeah. There's a lot of preparation for all my stuff.
Yeah, you're not just kind of going out and doing your thing.
No, hell no. I used to do that, and it would more often than not end in just a shitty day where we didn't get anything. So now I've very much become oriented toward having an idea, putting every single preparation in place, and going out and getting it on a particular day when I want to.
Now, when you say like a preparation, like what does that entail?
Exactly. I'm not sure if I'm ready to share all of that. Just
okay,
you know.
Trade secrets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Richie's a man of mystery. I come in and he was showing me some of his new stuff, and I'm like, well, how'd you do that? And he's like, bro, I can't tell you. Everyone wants to know.
Right. So I don't know. I kind of.
But I got the science he was trying to unravel, dude.
Yeah.
And I can't even mention that, dude.
Thanks.
No, but I love that's what I mean. Is like that. There's a mystery to what you're doing. Like you're a skateboarding alchemist, like mixing stuff together.
That's what I like to see others do.
Yeah, well, I think there's a certain militaristic aspect to it all. There's like, we're gonna go put this down.
Right.
We're gonna jump off the ledge. We're gonna spin some stuff. We're gonna land it. We're gonna hug. We're gonna walk away.
Yeah. Job done. Mission accomplished.
But then again, man,
it's hunting though as well.
Yes.
That's the biggest analogy that I've sort of found that it is. I mean, look at what it is. You get a group of dudes together, okay? That's the tribe. You don't need to hunt for food anymore because you eat it prepackaged, bought from a supermarket. That's handled. Hunting instinct has no purpose anymore, yet it's still so strong in you that you have to go and hunt something. So rather than hunting animals, we hunt footage. We go and hunt the trick. The prize is coming home with the piece of video footage or the photo, but it's the same ancient hunting instinct that we've been doing since.
That's pretty astute observation. I
get it. That's what it is, man.
It's the same with surfing.
Yeah,
it's the hunt, man.
It's the hunt.
It's
and these things are so popular because hunting for food isn't necessary anymore. I think it became, with the invention of the firearm, that shit was probably tapering off, It has none of the same appeal as it used to before the gun was invented, That's a real hunt.
That's a spear and a bunch of dudes. And
see, we're
going to trick the animal and get it.
I'm not that into hunting with firearms, but that kind of hunting, I can see the appeal. Like you said, get the trick, How we're
Just stand up in the tree, jump out of it and strangle to death the warthog.
Or the handrail. Now, what the fuck is that? It's the same thing.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, I got to go roll around with Gravette and Rayborn for a couple of days last winter, man, and it was definitely like that. It was hunting, man.
Yeah.
But I got to see him do that crazy handrail that's in his new part in Thrasher, the 26 stair one. He nailed it. Like,
I've been present for many gigantic David Gravette rides. I know what it's like.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Is like, but there's this weird. Yeah, you're right, man. It's like cool to be in the expedition.
Yeah.
We're going over here.
Right. I do love it. It's great.
Yeah, no, and when you put it like that, I see why there has to be a militaristic component to that.
For sure.
There's like a level. I mean, some of those pool skaters are just as gnarly in their whole.
Right, but real wars are the hunt gone mad.
Yeah.
That's like over hunting. Where we're like, well, no, we're actually interested in more of a genocide type approach with this one. So we're gonna hunt human beings like animals. Well, that's what war is.
Well, that's what's so weird. Like, everyone made that stupid American Sniper movie. Like, look, dude, that's a dude hunting human beings. Right, wrong, I don't know, but like, just strip it all down. It's a guy who got to go hunt human beings. Like, that's twisted, dude.
Right.
I don't know if that's truly like heroic or just sort of sick.
Right.
But we'll leave the politics aside on that one. I'm just not, like I said, like my whole, I'm such a pacifist on a certain level, dude. Like, I'm fully aware that like the world's spinning on its own axis of like insanity and the whole thing. And I am, at the end of the day, a monkey who will do what I need to do to feed myself on a certain level. But there's a part of me that's like, dude, like, really? Like, we got to celebrate this stuff, man? Like,
I know.
Come on, dude.
Exactly.
I don't know if it's cool. Like, I just don't know if I'm down with it.
Right. And I feel like I'd be wrong to talk shit on the military straight up, because for all I know, they are guarding me while
Well,
I sleep.
I know a lot of military people, and they're good people, man. Like, I think it runs into this weird system of like well-intentioned people getting caught in a system that doesn't have their best interest at heart.
Right.
Like anything else. Like,
but maybe my pacifism is a foolish assumption.
I think
You
most
know, like,
definitely it is.
Like, what if we were like, okay, like we said, the terrorists aren't a threat. Let's say we, dissolve all borders and say, hey, go for it. And what if we find out, oh my God, these guys were truly giant cunts. And having an army to keep them out was the right thing to do.
No.
Imagine if we find out that that's true.
Why? I think I think it was Jane's Addiction had some sort of line about it. There's some people that like that you're supposed to kill. Like who they are, I don't want to be the guy deciding.
Right.
But I've sat with people and been like, this dude's a detriment to me and my immediate vicinity, the human race as a whole, and he's gonna go get in a car and leave. And shouldn't we get him now? Like, there was the Juggalos, right?
Yeah.
Right? The Juggalos
Yeah.
with the face paint. So
I'm not opposed to them one bit. But
I'm not opposed to them either. But the FBI declares them as like a terrorist group and like basically like call the FBI and they're a threat to you, and like if the FBI is real serious about the Juggalos, right?
That's so insane, because from watching American Juggalo, that documentary about them, I came away with an understanding of just how harmless these guys are.
Oh yeah, dude.
They're like the workforce of America. They're like the guys that work at ice cream parlors, They're so harmless. They're just doing their Juggalo thing on the weekend as something fucking fun to do.
Well, they're like deadheads with like on a weird
there's
level.
zero threat for the Juggalos. My goodness, like they're all around fucking good people. It's so weird,
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. But if you read the thing and you didn't know, you would be like, "There's a Juggalo standing on the street corner. I should probably eliminate this guy."
Right.
When you get into this whole weird who's in, who's out, who's
and the guy probably just bagged your groceries and you didn't notice him because he didn't have the face paint on.
Yeah, dude. The face painting thing's next level. I have a secret fantasy to face paint.
Yeah, I might start rocking some face paint for the next part.
Dude,
no, I don't know.
Next level. No, but yeah, it's the weird thing of like when does it make, and I run under the I do no harm principle, right? Like the human, like, do no harm. Freedom is, as long as I'm not imposing my stuff on you, you got no right to impose anything on me.
I do the same, but yet today I've killed countless insects without knowing it. I've stepped on them, I've walked over them, and I was oblivious to it. And I'm trying to do good, and I've murdered several organisms today without knowing.
Oh, dude, I'm armed for the ants and the spiders. Like, we got the black widows. I live up in the hills, man. All right. There's a mouse in our ceiling, right? Dude, we've had the guy under there, and we live in some crazy trailer on top of the mountain. So they got it all rigged, but there's the mouse up in the ceiling. Look at the mouse. So I've been divided. So my big plan is, I'm gonna go home tonight and I drill a hole in the lid, put a pipe up there with an elbow, and boom, into a bucket. I'm gonna put peanut butter in the bucket, and my goal is, because I don't want the mouse to die in my ceiling, right? So my goal is for the mouse to want to get out of the house that he's trapped in, because everything's been sealed up. Smell the peanut butter, go in the hole, and drop down into the bucket. dilemma comes. What do you do with the mouse, right? I read up on it that it's like, dude, you like a catch and release mouse, sentence to death. Anyhow, boom, boom, boom. And then I go, cut him loose. He's for the snake. He's for the owl. Like, but do I smoke the mouse? No.
You let nature handle it. I do the same thing.
But to the point where, like, when I'm devising my plan for catching the mouse, my first plan was straight pipe in the thing. Dunk. And I'm like laying there and I'm like, man, that might actually like kill the mouse.
Right. I
go, he's like been up in my ceiling. I hear him, like, now we've got a bond going.
He's a fellow mammal.
Yeah, no, that's how weird it all becomes, because now he's become part of like our night experience.
Right.
This mouse, I'm like, he's partying again and the whole thing. I'm like, I don't want to just, like, I feel bad for this. I want the mouse to go mouse party with all the other mice. But there is like a caveman, like, I got a kid there, I'm having a baby, I can't have him. I got to kill the mouse to protect the family? And I was like, yeah, of course you got to kill the mouse to protect the family, but do you have to kill the mouse to protect it? So I've been trying to devise this way to get rid of the mouse without killing them.
You're trying to remain the dominant organism while having some fucking mercy.
Trying to be smarter than the mouse. But it's that whole weird thing of inventing a better mouse trap. I'm sitting there like, I've gone to all the things and like the mice and the mouse traps. I'm like, all right, it's got to be the bucket with the pipe and the peanut butter. And I got to drill. My girlfriend's like, you're going to drill a hole in my ceiling? I go, look, dude, I'm going to patch it all up. But it's the only way I can figure to get the mouse out of the house without burning the entire house down. Okay? Like, I got to drill a hole in the ceiling.
Right.
Shouldn't there be a big bucket and some tubes and stuff coming in there? I'm like, yeah, there's going to be a whole apparatus in our bedroom to catch this mouse and like let him go and hope he decides not to venture back to my house. But the scorpions and the black widows, dude, I got this can of like just lethal, dissolves them on the spot.
There's 2 lizards out there right now that are killing it because there's a couple of little moths and other bugs around, and I watched them this morning just crawling all over, just eating them.
I thought about getting a snake.
Yeah, like maybe something in like something of the reptilian.
I was thinking about going and catching a rattlesnake and putting him under the house and cutting him loose, and I'm like, there's something flawed in my thinking here. Like I'm down with the 10-year-old and the mom's gonna flip if they found out I put a rattlesnake under the house to catch the mouse, dude. Right. So how did you catch the mouse? Well, I put a rattlesnake in the wall.
They did that in Australia with the cane toads. That's why they have a cane toad infestation, because they put the cane toads there to eat something else. And
Australia's king of the infestation of trying to stop the other infestation.
Yeah, so you don't want to pull one of those.
No, I'm just getting the bucket and drilling the hole in the ceiling and hoping to do the whole thing, man. But these are the dilemmas of being a human being that's aware, right?
Right.
Like, it's not just all simple.
No.
None of this is simple.
We're paradoxical, and we're at a paradoxical point in time where we're full of survival instinct and we're becoming exponentially more intelligent. How do we reconcile those 2 things? With great difficulty, apparently.
Well, the skateboard helps a lot. We're so lucky we got the skateboard.
Yeah,
man, if I couldn't go ride the thing around, the piece of wood with the round things on them, dude, the toy. Yeah, I think
I'll go play with the toy.
I'm gonna go play with the toy. The toy is awesome, dude. But right, like, isn't that our saving grace? Is to think about all would the like those dudes who are doing the skate-a-stand stuff, right? Like building the skate parks and after you checked out that stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm a huge fan of it, man. Skate-a-stand, get behind that. And I look at that and I go, what they're trying to do, the next generation of educated young skateboarders to like curb the effect. I go, yeah, what do you expect of kids without toys when they get older? You leave a bunch of people in a bunch of concrete city with nothing going on and no toys. Everybody wants to play. America's based upon the concept of toys.
It fucking is.
It just because it's a motorcycle or a boat or something, don't pretend you're not playing with toys, dude. That garage full of tools that you're tinkering on the car, that's a giant toy model, dude.
Even musical instruments, that's a garage toy. And you're right, America is based on the idea of playing.
Playing with things.
Right.
And tinkering and
the glorification of baseball is like something like really something to behold for a guy like from outside, you know, to see it like flying into any American city and seeing the number of like stadiums lit up. It's mind-boggling,
right?
Yeah, I've never really seen anything like that.
Weird. It's a big resource extractor.
Yeah.
They don't like to play baseball in the day. It's weird.
I don't know. Maybe they do. I went to a baseball game, and it was really weird. I definitely noticed, you know, in between everything, there was definitely ads for the American military thrown in. Like,
well, you know, again, it's people, adults, thinking that sports aren't a childlike pursuit. Like, at least a skateboard, as I speak for myself only, I know that it is on a certain level a childlike pursuit of mine to chase skating around. I love it. It's a passion of mine. But I have no beef with someone who's like, dude, that's for like an 8-year-old kid. I go, yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, dude. I never grew up, dude. So when I get the whole sports fan thing, and I'm like, you know, man, it is a childlike pursuit. Go be it, but just at least acknowledge that it's a game.
Right.
It's just a game.
That's what I say. I see even like.
We're gonna get some heat for this, dude.
I remember reading but I like
they made it this far.
No, see, I remember reading an MC Escher quote. He said, "My work is just a game, a very, very serious game. Like, that's how I feel about skating. It's just a game, but I'm paying way too much attention to where I'm making it into my own sort of, complex entity. But really, it is just ultimately a child's toy. But it's the attention that I'm giving to it and what it's letting me develop it into, where it feels like infinity."
Oh, it's infinite when you're on that thing, man. That's the bizarre. I was sitting there, helped these guys build a little a half pipe for themselves, and I was watching this dude skate, and I was just like back and forth. I was like, it was in this like rehab place, so there's a bunch of people coming. I'm like, I was trying to be them watching what was going on and being like, so the guy just goes back and forth. Like, they don't know the nuances of what he's doing.
Right.
Like, this guy's ripping too. Just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm like, yeah, they're looking at this going, this is ridiculous. But those same people walk over to a tennis court and be like, oh, yeah, look at that, man. Whoa.
Back and forth, I get that.
Yeah, back and forth. But it's funny that, like, there's a certain component of our society that views tennis as a like legitimate pursuit and skateboarding not so much.
Right. That's changing. I feel like we're being the instruments of that change.
We're leading the whole thing.
But it is funny to seeing something so established. And then I wonder if skating becomes that established, will I cease to have any interest in it? Will it be like, you know?
I'm all for it, man. More people skating, the better, man. I don't know. Like,
maybe there's something more subversive to pursue once skating is as big as baseball.
But I don't, right? Isn't skating just this internal thing? Like, regardless, like, if no one was skating and if everybody was skating, it's still just you and a board.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's not, I hear, like, there's weird, I see stuff and it's getting too mainstream and this. I'm like, it doesn't affect me. Like, deciding, like, I'm going to go roll around today, dude. Especially at this stage in my life at 45. It's like, you know, it's a definite, like, more of a pursuit than it was when I was 22. You know, like I got to kind of go to it now. Like, I live in the boonies and the whole thing. Like, I got to go skate.
Right. Versus
before, it was just like the connection to the part of my shoe that had wheels on it, essentially. Like, right. And so it's this weird thing where nobody could skate, everyone could skate. I don't care. I gotta roll. I gotta the wheels gotta spin for me, man.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. But I also have to film it. That's my other urge. I'm like, I gotta film something new. Like, I gotta do that. I gotta go do that.
Do you skate and not film?
Yeah, I do, but it's in anticipation of filming.
So you're practicing.
Yeah.
So you're going to warming stuff up, and it's like, now you call your guy and you're.
I mean, it's practice isn't really right. I mean, it's experimenting.
Okay.
It's experiment. I go experiment, and then I try to capture the result of the experiment.
I got you.
That's the kick in it for me.
So you get your hypothesis going of what can be done, and you go test it against variables. And...
Exactly.
Now, do you have like Do you have a spot? Like, I know you just still don't have a car.
Yeah, I go.
Do you roll down the street?
I roll down the street. There's streets all over here. There's actually really good spots all around, and they're all, anti-spots, which is, that's the thing. Moving, like I've started. I mean, you saw that there's a lot of road equipment in the new edit.
Yeah.
When you have a lack of spots and you got to skate something, you start looking at what else is around.
How
can you use what's around? So I welcome moving to any new environment. I think a true skateboarder could be plopped down in the middle of any city or any environment, and they'll find something.
Well, no, that I hear a lot of. I had my girlfriend's little brother. He lives in Florida. I'm like, we went skating. He's a full skater kid. He's like 17. He's moved out there and doesn't have a skating. I'm like, why do you not have a skate? He's like, there's nothing to skate a good look, dude.
Yeah.
I moved to the sticks of Pennsylvania. I found a hill I could skate, and then I just went and started pouring my own concrete, dude.
This is what creates the Rodney Mullins of the universe. He was in his farm, and he only had that tiny little space with which to invent everything. So within that miniature little patch of concrete, he gave us everything.
I can't get into the whole there's nothing to skate thing, because I crossed that bridge when I lived out in the boonies of the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania. I was like,
well, there's nothing to skate until you use the thing that's never been skated.
Yeah.
And you make it into something.
Why? That's the whole history of skating, really, the pool and the whole thing.
Right. So why, and people skate a tree or skate a stump, and it's the exact same mentality as we can use this pool for we can repurpose it.
I like the guys who go and skate the Red Rock and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's super cool. Like, the natural, real natural environment.
Jaws just had his whole roof part,
Yeah.
What can we repurpose?
That roof stuff's crazy, man. I was with Rayborn doing some weird roof stuff with shakies, and I was like there's nothing that's on wood, shake tile,
I don't know, that was another thing coming to America for me, was noticing how skatable the roofs are out here, especially in California. How they're all just tarred and flat.
Yeah.
Incredible. We don't have that. In Sydney and in most Australian cities, they have tiled, sloped roofs to displace the imaginary snow that never falls on them, because it's a British thing from the colonies. We need some red tiles because there's no snow ever, but we have a roof to displace the snow. The roofs suck for skating, and when I came to LA, I was like, wow, look how great all these roofs are.
I used to be way into roof skating, man. That was I went to a university out in Flagstaff, Arizona. The gym is a giant wave, but we had to talk about expedition. We had to rappel and jump from one building to the other to get to this thing and skate, and it was rad.
That's cool.
They used to be in my whole thing once upon a time when I was more adventuresome, was oddball, weird stuff that's not meant to be skated.
There's these bowls there's an office tower in Auckland, which is where I'm originally from, and on maybe about the 4th floor up at the bottom of this office tower, the windowsill is a perfect bowl, and they go all the way around with gaps in between them about this big. So the rumor was somebody did the transfer between the bowls over the 4-story drop. I don't know if anyone ever did it, but I remember being pretty psyched on that. I couldn't do anything on a skateboard, but I remember the word of mouth of somebody did that.
Dude, there's some footage or pictures of Red up in Oregon, up in one of those bridge footings, towers on the bridge in North Portland that's so far up there, and it's perfect half pipes, and he's up there skating it, and you're like, dude, gnarliness, man.
Yeah. I wonder if anyone's done that one in Auckland. I should look that up.
You encourage him, man.
Right.
Well, no, don't. Don't do it.
Don't transfer between buildings. It's too late.
4 stories up.
It's too late.
Well, nothing's gnarlier than the Jeremy Ray tower to tower launch.
Once that image is in everyone's collective skate consciousness, we're gonna be launching between tall structures.
Yeah. What do you think's next, man?
Springfield Gorge, man.
What's the spring?
I always thought that was the same thing. I wonder if anyone from The Simpsons had seen the water tower gap, because it was probably around the same time, and they're oh, it's like Homer going across the gorge on the skateboard.
Well, that's what's so funny is it ultimately did become that with the mega ramps and the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny Way must have been watching The Simpsons too.
Yeah, pretty much.
What's all subliminal? It's all such a video.
We're designing it as we go, yeah.
That's the hottest. I had a bunch of, an accumulation of experiences like a week ago where I was like, this can only be coming out of my mind. Like there's no absolute way that this could be occurring if I wasn't like conjuring it all up and really participating in it. Because it's just too custom made.
Well, it's a scientific fact that you do conjure it based on the stimulus that you're perceiving.
Yeah,
you know?
that's the hottest of science is fully like, yeah, you know what, man? The far out stuff, this weird mystics we're talking about, it's real.
It's weirder than what mystics have been talking about. It's more complex and more bizarre.
Well, that's the weird thing. I that whole Hadron Collider and all that stuff that's going on. Like, there's some far out stuff that, like, if they're letting us know that that's what they're doing with that thing, man, they're doing some other crazy stuff with that thing too. Like, you know, they're not like, hey, you know, they're obviously up to something else.
Right. I guess it's, you know, scientists and government officials have vastly different agendas a lot of the times, though. Like, a scientist legitimately wants to learn about the world, not to fuck with people or control. He just wants to learn about the world, full stop.
Yeah, Tesla.
Yeah. Like, but you're right. I mean, we've had a long history of science being bastardized and misused for destructive purposes.
But that's right. The cat can't stay in the bag, dude. Like once it's there, it's moving.
Right.
Like they couldn't keep that nuclear energy stuff under wraps. Like, everyone's got the bomb now. I think that's the hottest big thing. Like everyone's like, yeah, everyone's got a nuke now. Who doesn't have a nuke, dude? Well, every country's got a nuke, don't pretty much at this point. I think said somewhere. Like, so who cares, man? It's really not that big of a deal.
Well, so far we've been all right. We've been able to.
Somehow we've managed but that's what all right.
We've been all right. Others have suffered greatly.
No, you're right. But I mean, but on the weird, crazy monkey vibe, if you think about all the nukes and how psychotic the people are that control the nukes, the fact they haven't been throwing them at each other, it's kind of a miracle, man. Right. Like there's some sort of weird thing going on because crazy people, there's dudes on the news, like full-blown Pentagon generals and stuff like, yeah, we gotta nuke them.
Yeah.
Like dudes in power going, yeah, you know, man.
Well, you know, it happened twice. You know, the U.S. did use the nukes on a civilian population.
Well, we did,
twice.
Yes, twice.
So we're the crazy fuckers.
You know, there's debates, but whether that's how the Germans who were holding off the Russians on the Eastern Front was with tactical nukes, dude, because they were going for the.
Maybe we're just messing up. We still keep using these words, we, us, them. Maybe we're fucking up every time we even deploy those. Like, I just caught myself being like I guess I identify as American now. I was saying we dropped a bomb. Like, what the fuck? My whole thing is I've never identified with any country because I'm originally from New Zealand. I moved to Australia. Now I'm in the U.S.
But I think we are human.
Yeah.
So we're all one. We're all part of the dance.
Right.
Of the insanity. Just because we're sitting here in this nice house talking on an iPhone making a podcast doesn't mean that like the rest of the monkeys aren't doing these things all around the planet. Some people are planting organic gardens and macrameing like baby saws, and other people are like jumping on brains with rifle butts. Like
at this very moment.
And we're all part of it. It's all us.
Yeah.
Like just because we're free of it right now, like in this space, maybe it's not occurring though. I trip on that stuff too and go, who says it's really occurring? Like in this wall, like I like the white walls are a nice touch because you really get that like TS 1071 approach to it with Robert Duvall, you know, like where maybe there really is nothing going on up there.
No, but that's a mistake, surely, to like do nothing but like, okay, the answer to all of that insanity is I'm gonna wall myself off in a nice house.
Can't,
like, that'll take
agoraphobia.
I think that's what everyone's doing, and that's what hasn't been working. As long as I've got my nice house, the rest of the world's probably.
Well, no, I think you got to run out there and join. I mean, as a guy who spent years on the isolation train, like that's what I texted Helen. Thank you, by the way. This ultimately is really how I was like, to thank your mom for sending that gift.
My mom is your biggest fan, dude. She's like I was saying earlier, she doesn't follow any other personalities within skating. Like, you're the ticket for her.
That's so radical, dude. That's
cool.
Beautiful, but I sent her an email going, it just amazes me how, like, the interconnectivity and wovenness of human interaction.
Right. My mom knows what she likes too, dude. Like, it's not an easy sell right there for her to be like into your stuff.
Well,
like,
to send a baby present too is
exactly.
just like heartwarming.
Straight
like
up.
It was beautiful, and that's what amazed it. But coming from the guy who didn't interact with human beings to like this thing that's going on and be like, okay, yeah, the staying indoor and hiding and being like F you to the world. Didn't get me anywhere. Didn't change anything. Didn't do anything for the overall outcome. And it was all based upon there's bad stuff going out there. I'm not participating in it. I don't want to be part of it. I shut myself off, and you guys are on your own. And having come out and been like, whoa, dude. And it was like, that's what I was kind of just briefly hit your mom. Like, to be able to have the interaction with your mom across the world via and never meet, but we're all tied together. It blew.
She watches every one of your videos.
Really? Wow, that's radical. That's radical. So yeah, that amazes me that by not holding it back anymore, that we can, by participating in it, like it is slowing it all down. Or I don't know if it's doing anything to it, but it's changing it.
Right.
Because the fabric's changing, the weave.
I think sometimes it can feel like you're not participating in the dance as a whole, but you are. Everybody is.
Well, isn't that the line from that song? Even not to choose is to make a choice.
Right.
You're like, that's the weird thing that's going on but now I choose to interact. That was sort of the weird thing I was telling you about earlier, and the deal here was like I came to this thing 3 weeks ago where I was like, I need to go interact more.
Right.
I'm getting a little bit far out up on this mountain up here doing my new family thing. I need to go interact more. How do I do that? I gotta make some calls.
Right.
I gotta jump in the car. I gotta drive. I gotta join the world even more now. Yeah. Like I have a responsibility to myself to interact with people because they want to interact with me. Mm-hmm. Right? Like
we have a responsibility to each other.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah, like if I just isolate myself off, like I'm denying everybody else their interaction with me and vice versa.
Which you're totally allowed to do also.
Oh yeah.
Your choice.
Yeah. You have the right to go be a hermit.
Yeah.
But if your hermitage is based upon the thing we were just talking about, the out there insanity and the crazy monkeys and about the nukes and the this and the that.
Then you're letting their game.
Yeah, you letting their game win, right? Like, yeah, you like it's like I get the Tibetan monk in the monastery doing his thing. Do I understand the Los Angeles guy going to the cave to isolate from this? Not so much. I get why he went there. I understand the concept. But when you really think of it, like, go there, come back, and help us.
I guess that's what I'm shooting for. What I do is a kind of isolation from society, yet a total exposure, because I'm putting my stuff out there as well. You know,
yeah.
I get both.
Well, no,
I get to like withdraw entirely and like push it together out the other end and make it into something else.
Well, right, isn't that where like you see a lot of these people have gone off the deep end, is where they don't allow themselves any like ability to. You have to go find the quiet space. Like, right, like you look at some of these like mega people and the traumas of their like paparazzi life and the whole thing, and like, man, do they like? Don't you need to be able to go and like kind of work on your project in peace a little bit, and then come out and be like, look,
yeah,
check it out, because I
you do. That's why, like, no, I really like the world of skating and the way that we treat what would be considered, you know, I mean, we don't even use the word celebrity in skating. You know, the professionals, I guess, is like the term that we use. You know, the figures that are well known, but we don't have paparazzi. We don't have.
Well, you bring your own.
Yeah, you bring your own, exactly. And like, it's so good. We have like, I think skaters are actually really good to each other compared to what you see out there of how traditional media treats its celebrities. You know, we have a much better thing going on, way more eye to eye. You know, like that we're all participants in it, and there's less of a divide between like, oh, I'm this fucking great untouchable dude, and no one's allowed to interact with me.
Those guys fade.
Right. No, but that's like, even in skating, I don't know if anyone's like that, but almost every conventional celebrity has a degree of that. You know, like, okay, I'm walled off here, you're not allowed in. Skate celebrities and skateboarder, you know, skateboarders, we're way more eye to eye, and there's way less of a divide, and I like it. I really like it. Well, so I think we shouldn't become more like traditional media.
No, I didn't mean that. I was just like, if you kind of look at the weird thing that these people get hemmed into. No, it's skateboarding's its own unit. That's why I identify with skateboarding. It's not that way in surfing. There's not.
Different?
It's all bad.
I would have no clue.
It's all bad vibes, man.
Really?
Yeah, dude. You be the guy from the next beach down, and who are you, and what are you doing here, and like, you know. But then, you know, the surfing celebrity roll in, snake you, and like that's what I mean. Like, I've seen guys at the top of their game interact with the regular skater, and it's this cool symbiotic relationship.
Right.
There's no grandstanding because they're already beyond. They don't need to like.
I think that responsibility is on both sides, though. This is my point. For the skate fan, you know, I don't actually like to use that word. I think once a pro actually called me a fan when I was really young. He's like, "Oh, this guy's a like #1 fan or something," and I went like, "Ugh," like I didn't like that, you know. It kind of like made me not want to be a fan, maybe be something more. I don't know, but I think that the responsibilities on both sides from like regular skate is like to not make it weird also, you know.
Absolutely.
And as long as like, we can perpetuate this, we can keep it way better. It doesn't have to go the way of you know, the way it is with actors.
Well, that's the thing is like, yeah, man, like that's what I mean. Is like we skate together. Yeah. Like that's the thing. Like there is a weird. It doesn't matter to it at all. Like,
but I guess what I'm trying to yeah.
No, but I know what you mean. Is like if they showed up at this like the weird thing where they show up at the skate park and everybody clears the course, like
we'd fuck it all up.
Yeah, you're supposed to skate with them.
Right.
It's not like a. Like, yeah, when they're just showing up to go about their like life as a skateboarder, like we're all skateboarders. Yeah. I see it on a thing where like there's some gnarly dudes will show up down at the Venice skate park. No one stops. No one's stopping their skate because David Gonzalez showed up. They're all like watching him, like, damn, dude, it's David Gonzalez, he's killing it.
Right.
But nobody took their board and stood out of the court and was like,
yeah,
play on, play through.
And likewise, there's nobody saying, quiet on set, please.
Yeah, there was an awe, like, that dude's the man, but I want to skate with the man.
Right.
Like, and he, the super cool guy, he didn't, like, that's what I mean, like, when you watch somebody in the midst of this thing and just how they behave, you're like, that guy's cool.
It's the same in the streets, though. Anyone that's out there and doing it has a mutual respect for one another.
Yeah.
At the schoolyard, you know, everyone's there, and it's all, you know, everyone says hello, and they make sure that everybody's
I love skaters, man.
Yeah, like we got good things like that we need to perpetuate.
I brought my girlfriend to the skate day last year in downtown LA with the 20,000 skaters. She was tripping.
Yeah.
It was such a cool thing to be part of. Did you see the footage from that?
I did, yeah. It's like a global thing. It's pretty hard to ignore at this point, isn't it?
I think it's beautiful, man. Like just the camaraderie of it all. Mm-hmm. There's a weird thing. Like somehow I have this thing that like skateboarders are the answer to it all in a weird way of.
Well, they are for me, at least.
Yeah,
Shit,
but
I'm totally all right with that.
But I think that like it's creeping into the power structure.
Right.
Like eventually enough time's going to go on where you're going to start having, like, for example, the woman I ran against in my city council race, the older lady, she was like, I skated in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
I skated. She skated. She was familiar with the device and played with the toy.
Right.
So I wasn't as foreign to her in what I was trying to do as the guy who's never skated, who views it as an untangible toy. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't put one of those in. She was like, I used to skate. Like it's cool. I think we're getting to that tipping point where it's gonna be in the fabric where decision makers and judges and
right.
like you have no shortage of cops stopping and hopping on kids' skates and doing ollies and kickflips and stuff, right? Like, yeah, there's a bunch of hard-on cops out there, but there's this whole new thing where cops are like, yeah, I'm a skater. Yeah. I skate. Let me show you, kid. Oh, as community relations, to be like, look, man, here, like, but I'm like,
we're becoming less of the other.
Yeah,
the other is who gets persecuted in a society,
Yeah, it's weird, but it is. The thing is, like, I do like the rebel vibe of it too.
Yeah,
it's bizarre.
I know. Like, does there come a point where it turns the other way? And you're like, oh man, this is just way too encouraged these days. I need somebody. Well, my whole thing is I need somebody to tell me I can't do something.
That always helped me, man. I remember getting in so much trouble when I was young. I remember the dean of students at the high school busting me for the skate, like, not allowed on campus, and this and that, and being like, okay.
Mossman High School was tremendously opposed to me riding that toy, to me bringing it to school, to me to have anything to do with it. So thereby, they lit the fire under me every single time. Even when I graduated, the principal shook my hand and he said, always on that bloody skateboard. And he thought that was pretty cute or funny or like a good way to say goodbye and be like, yeah, pretty much.
There's the principal, the dean of students is Jerry McCloskey. Jerry, if you're out there. Jerry McCloskey used to lecture me about this is a fad and this and that and this and that. And I remember like 10 years ago when it got its huge resurgence and being like, I hope Jerry, like the X Games was blowing up and all that. I go, I hope Jerry McCloskey's watching this.
Right.
I hope he sees this right now, that like you were hassling me for about something that was stupid.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't need to hassle me.
And you were preparing me for something that wasn't the internet. Because that's all the future was going to be, and nobody could teach you that.
Yeah, no, well, like, yeah, I guess in a weird way, those dudes saved our lives, right? Like, all right, yeah, fuck you.
And it's what increased my interest in it, for sure.
Really? It was directly proportional.
Directly proportional to, it was the one thing they told me I shouldn't do. Really? So I did it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Like, non-stop, man. We weren't allowed to bring boards to the school. So the guy across the street had like a fruit shop and he let us put this cool old Italian guy was just like, yeah, and we'd put them in the shop every day.
I used to sneak mine on. I would take this roundabout way and get it to my locker, but I'd be late sometimes and I'd cut down this one driveway and I'd always get caught and brought up to the thing. And for me, I wasn't even truly like a skater. It was, I lived in the boonies and it was transportation for me. You know what I mean? Like back off 1985, like it was like I was just becoming like.
That's when I was born, by the way, 85.
Really?
Yeah.
I was getting hassled by the clown. We used to call him the clown, Jerry McCloskey.
I had a couple stash spots too. You just reminded me that around the back of the science block there were these really high windows, and I was able to kind of go up this drain pipe and put the board up there a couple days as well. Like if I needed it in. I wonder if they're still there. People could probably still use that. But, maybe Mossman High has evolved to the point now where kids are allowed to bring their boards and sanity has prevailed, hopefully.
Dude, they were, dropped that 9-year-old off the school. That kids had skateboards, were skating around out on campus. I was like, whoa, dude. I'm like, can you bring it? She's like, yeah, because she's skating.
Great.
I got her to skate for Christmas.
That's awesome.
Yeah, super rad, dude.
Well, yeah, hopefully they can enjoy that without fear of persecution.
That's the goal, right? But I think persecution almost makes you stronger.
It does. So again, the paradox, man.
Yeah, right. Like that's the thing, man. Like
it's so paradoxical.
It is. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've done good, I think, here.
We almost get to 2 hours this time. Jeez.
Yeah. We went. We could have gone on for a while.
Is that the longest? Do you think? Have you ever done one that long?
The Josh Peacock one was like $1.20, but
wow.
I couldn't. I had to download it in 2 parts. Like this will be a challenge to see if the downloading can occur.
Right.
You never know, because it's different. When I used to do it off the computer with the camera, you could download pretty much anything. But this one, I got to run it through.
I don't think anyone would be able to sit there for that long and watch it, because even me sitting here doing it, my body is physically sore.
Yeah, but they have. Well, we're gonna tune out. We're done. This is Richie Jackson, dude. Super stoked.
Longest interview to date. Thank you.
No, thank you. I appreciate your time, Richie. And Helen, thank you.